Tonight, the Ghana Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative GATE has launched Ghana's 2017-2018 Mining and Oil and Gas EITI reports in Accra. The mining report brings to 14 the total number published since Ghana signed onto the initiative in 2003. Presenting the latest findings, co-chairman of the Ghana chapter of the EITI, Dr. Steve Mantiel, raised concerns about contributions of the extractive industries to communities. There's more in this report.
Co-chair of Ghana's chapter of the EITI, Dr. Steve Mantiel, stated that while disclosures on the management and use of extractive resources are vital in fostering and informed citizens' engagement on natural resource governance, Ghana's long-term objective of enhancing the development outcomes of the extractive sector will not be served if citizens do not capitalize on the reports to demand accountability and the needed policy and practice.
You do. To determine that when I mortgage my forests, the livelihoods of my people, for X amount of taxes and royalties, this is what I get. We don't do anything of the sort. For us, every money is money. Whether it's we are losing out or gaining, we don't really care much. A study done by the World Bank at the turn of the millennium, I think it was 1998 thereabout, indicate that the cost, the environmental cost to human activities, including mining, is about 6% of our GDP. So, if your economy is growing by 4% and the cost to your environment is 6%, are you going or you are coming?
The report further cited that international oil companies such as Anadarko, Eco Atlantic, Vital Upstream, and AGM, though met the threshold for inclusion in the report, failed to submit their templates and therefore did not participate in the exercise. A few companies were also excluded with the reconciliation exercise because they did not meet the materiality threshold of $370,000 and $350,000 for 2017 and 2018 financial years respectively during the scoping phase of the exercise.
Variation in the price will mean that we'll have to make the necessary adjustments in the budget in order to contain the reduction. That is what is immediately but our debt management unit are also looking at ways of dealing with some of the consequences, fiscal consequences relating to the management of government liabilities, and also some of the benefits we could get from the development in the international economy.
Other key findings show that though the Minister of Finance is required to stipulate the weightings used in the event of realignment, no such weightings were provided in the 2018 budget in respect of the funds of the Ghana infrastructure. Also, GNPC's funds are currently capped under the Petroleum Revenue Management Act at 30% of net petroleum revenues.
Well, more from the EITI report, which indicates there's a lack of clarity on the relationship between the Ghana National Petroleum Corporation and the Ghana National Gas Company. Currently, the GNPC claims responsibility for Ghana Gas as a subsidiary. However, Ghana Gas does not appear to recognize the GNPC as a parent company. Further, the GNPC's financial statements do not reflect debts owed by Ghana Gas. This development has raised questions on whether or not government must intervene with some legislation. Let's get some response from the Deputy Finance Minister, Kweku Kwarteng, who launched the report.
The relationship, I don't think there's a need for any clarity. It is about the institutions working for one state to just sit down and iron out some of the minor differences. I do not think it has been such. They've been such big differences. But issues that have come up recently are quite minor. I think the institutions are capable of addressing these. It's the desire to perform their mandate as fully as they can that leads to what appears sometimes to be overlaps and leads to the disagreement. But I'm quite confident that the leadership of these institutions are able to address these differences and ensure that both working in concert, but also working as individual institutions, they can deliver on their mandates for the benefit of the country. Variation in the price will mean that we'll have to make the necessary adjustments in the budget in order to contain the reduction. That is what is immediately contemplatable. But I think we ought to broaden the discussion to cover not just crude oil, but generally as a country, what the opportunities are in this epidemic, but also what measures we need to take to ensure that Ghana is impacted minimally in this global epidemic. That we are working on. The Ministry of Health is working closely with the Ministry of Finance to ensure that we're able to contain the negative impact of the epidemic. But our debt management unit are also looking at ways of dealing with some of the consequences, fiscal consequences relating to the management of government liabilities.
Well, energy expert Ishmael Ejekumhene has been reacting to this aspect of the report by the EITI. He spoke with Emmanuel Aboagye-Wiafe.
It's not the law per se. It was a policy decision that was announced first by the then Minister of Finance in when he was reading the 2015 budget. He announced that GNG, that's Ghana Gas, is going to be made a subsidiary of GNPC. The whole idea is to increase the asset base of GNPC and strengthen their books to be able to go into the capital market to get loans, secure loans and things like that. But post that announcement, no concrete steps were taken to ensure the transfer of asset ownership to Ghana GNPC. So it's not a claim being made by GNPC. It's a policy decision that was announced that never got implemented. So yes, they are right to believe that Ghana Gas is a subsidiary, but Ghana Gas never became a subsidiary of GNPC post the announcement that was made by the minister. There was a reason why GNPC was in existence, but Ghana chose to set up a dedicated entity to see to the processing of gas and the marketing of gas. But for us to spend money and create an institution called Ghana Gas and then turn around suddenly to say that
some analysis there from Ishmael Ejekumhene. In other news,